Good morning, Sri Lanka. Welcome back to the show. Now, we've been speaking with Shafraz, and he's been telling us about how you can really cut down on all the extra expenses that we all have in our day-to-day lives, and how you can really streamline your budget to really get what you want done out of the money that you have, which is the important thing. And prioritizing is something that you were stressing on earlier as well, Shafraz. But then what's the priority that should be given to something like having an emergency fund or a rainy day fund?
Okay, the word emergency itself says it's something unforeseen.
Yes.
Or in other words, emergency is something that's immediate, but none of us know when it's going to happen. So the point being, are you going to look at something which you don't know would happen or might, I mean, emergency is an accident, let's say, as I said, maybe something unfortunate which has to be taken care of then and there. I have no idea when that's going to happen.
Yes.
I don't even know whether that's going to happen. So do I think of something that is unforeseen? Retirement, I completely agree, because that's going to happen, right? Emergency, I don't know. So I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't know how much to save. So the point is, I can't say, okay, fine, maybe I might meet with an accident, let's say 3 months, or let's say that's not going to happen. So emergency by virtue is something that you have remaining balance. After your income, you've subtracted all your expenses, something balance that you have. You save little by little by little. There's no direction on how much. I mean, anyone can give you a random percentage saying 18.5% or 10% or 15%, any amount. When something goes wrong, yes, you can use that. But my point is, anything that you have remaining, you save it anyways. Your saving, you can call it emergency, you can call it something that you want to fulfill your desire. It could work either ways. But that's only after you deducted your expenses. I don't believe in some people. What they do is, they say every month I need a particular amount as emergency fund. So you know what they do? They have a particular portion they've already allocated. So from the income, that goes out. Balance goes for expenses. Then you think, okay, fine, oh my god, I don't have enough money for expenses. You borrow another loan. So now you think loan, no problem, because I anyways have saving, and you think I'm earning an interest from saving, I'm paying loan, no problem. But you need to understand, always the interest on loan is greater than the interest on saving. So by doing that, actually you're losing. So emergency is always after you have enough money. When you get to that portion,
so saying that the balance that you have remaining, that's anyway going to be your savings. Your savings can double up as your emergency fund.
Emergency fund. But the only thing is, you need to realize it shouldn't be kept right in front of your eyes, because we people, human beings, we are tempted, right? Temptation is all around us. It should be in a very locked space. It should be in a secure space. I would advise a fixed deposit. Not for the interest, but what I'm trying to say is, at least you know there's a maturity period. If there's an emergency, you pull it out, rather than having it on your ATM card, swiping it, having it with you in your pocket or wallet. I don't think it qualifies as a proper emergency fund saving.
So that's another great thing that you have to do, because you have to really keep that aside as the emergency fund if you're going to have it as your emergency fund.
And you can have saving and emergency both separate. Saving for my car, emergency for something going wrong. When you get to the point where you can afford two different things, until then both can be one.
Alright, but if we speak about insurance, can insurance be considered your rainy day fund?
Horrible, disaster. because the reason is this: if you take insurance, there's certain kind of insurance which is a must.
Okay.
A car third party insurance, you have no option. So we go ahead and do that. Yes. But the point is, insurance is what? Again, a form of emergency fund. Yes, it's very similar. But the point is, insurance is something, at least emergency fund, you have the liberty of deciding how much you want to save. And even if something, let's say, for example, something doesn't happen, God forbid, you can use that for your own satisfaction, no? But when you go to an insurance company, when you give them your premium, that's gone, over, finito. There's no two words about that. You can't get it back. So if something goes wrong, and when you drive a car, you don't want to meet with an accident, and you pay for them for an accident. Whereas the difference between emergency fund, even if an accident doesn't happen, that goes directly to satisfy another desire. But once the insurance takes your money, it's digested, swallowed. That's it, over.
But what is the ideal amount that an average family in Sri Lanka should be setting aside? Let's say just the average income
I don't want to
level.
get into a game of specifying numbers. I think a lot of people have specified monthly incomes that are necessary for a family to survive in Sri Lanka, and I don't think I want to go in that path. But the point being, it all depends on the way you live your life. I can't give a specific amount because each lifestyle varies. So hence I said, you are the best judge of how much income you need. So first, You have your income, decide what your expense is. If you feel this is my lifestyle, my expense is this, my income is enough, fine. But if you feel there's a little bit of a list that's remaining which I can't satisfy, motivation for you to increase your income. So the point is, you can't give a rough amount and say, okay, save this much. I think that will be very misleading, because it all depends on what kind of water you drink, what kind of food you have, where you reside, whether it's urban, rural. I think it's a very, very variable factor.
Of course, so I won't put you on the spot anymore then. Alright, but on that note, we have a video about how to find more money to save. So that's going to be an interesting one. Let's go check it out.
Save money. People who manage to sock away money even on a tight budget all live by these mottos. Make it over, use it up. Make do or do without. Now you can learn from their secrets. All you need is motto, due diligence, quality merchandise, price monitoring, self-sufficiency, and priorities. Optional needs: promotional codes, coupons, free shipping, store policies. Step 1. Do your homework before buying anything, especially big-ticket items. With the internet, comparison shopping is easier than ever. Once you've made a buying decision, search online for promotional codes, coupons, and free shipping. Step 2. Buy quality merchandise. It's cheaper in the long run because it won't need to be fixed as often or replaced soon. Step 3. Check every store receipt and restaurant bill to make sure you've been charged correctly. If you eat a meal on a credit card or debit card, keep the restaurant receipt to compare with your credit card or bank statement. Some restaurants engage in so-called tip jacking, adding in a tip or increasing the one you gave them. Know the store policy on price accuracy. Some give away an item if it's scanned higher than the advertised cost. Step 4. When buying a non-necessity like clothing, ask yourself if you really love it. If not, put it back. Even if you do love it, wait a few days before buying it. By then, the urge may have completely passed. Step 5. Become a devotee of do-it-yourself. Learn how to make simple home repairs, do basic sewing and cooking meals from scratch. Step 6. Set priorities, such as home ownership or early retirement. Saving up is easier if you have savings goals. Did you know that researchers have discovered that thrifty people and spendthrifts tend to marry each other?
That's an interesting insight right there.
I haven't tried that. I'll figure that out.
Oh no. let us know how that goes.
I will definitely.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll let everyone else know on the show as well. Do you remember Shafraz and the little insight? This is what happened with that. Alright, but spending on your meal, eating out and eating at home, there is a big difference. I mean, a lot of time does go into preparing your own meal, but do you think that time is worth the investment instead of going out and eating?
So the question is, what's in it for me? The point is, if I wake up in the morning, me taking, let's say, half an hour to make a meal, and then I'm bad at making, I don't basically. Yeah, so making a meal in the morning and spending half an hour, 45 minutes, going to company late, being stressed out, being unproductive. I think rather than that, I might have some sort of a conflict or whatever, and go to work. Let's say lunch. What I could rather do is the previous day or whatever, I could plan out where I want to have my lunch. So at the last minute, I might not end up paying something extra at a place. But when you come back for dinner, you are relaxed. You have your time. You might as well cook something on your own. So most people today go out for dinner. Lunch, people do go out, but that's a very basic meal that you have because you are in a work rush. Dinner is what gets lavish and grand and all of those. That's something you can cut down by eating at home. And also the second thing being, sometimes we go to restaurants, we don't pay for the meal, we pay for the place. Right, so the question mark you need to ask yourself, me having a dish at a particular restaurant, if it tastes the same as another restaurant, I mean, why pay extra for the atmosphere? It doesn't make sense. Those are areas that you can probably cut down. That could save you that buck.
Being smart can help you save a lot, I think. That's true. But at what point do you start to replace, the old TV that you have lying around or the DVD player? Because how can you figure out what's the best time and what's the value of my asset right now?
I'll tell you when is the best time. When I have spare cash, it's smiling at me, and it says, dude, you have nothing to do with this, what are you gonna do? Then I ask myself, do I love DVD players that much? Do I watch so many DVDs? Then let's buy a new DVD, because maybe my current DVD does not support a Blu-ray. But I do that only when there's spare cash smiling at me. No other instance, not when it's hacked, not when my neighbor comes and says it looks bad. I really don't care what my neighbor thinks, because at the end of the day I need cash smiling at me. That's it.
That's the important thing,
Exactly.
I think, at this day and age. But when you speak about smartphones and things like that as well, you find so many updates coming up on the software as well as the hardware. Every few months there's a new one out there, and a lot of people are interested in, you know, really keeping themselves up to date. But what's the wisdom in that?
See, if you take a smartphone, today it depends on what kind of smartphone do you want to buy, because I feel a smartphone was invented into today's world. Couple of reasons. We are very busy. You don't have time to check your mail on a laptop. You don't have time to check for something, a news on a laptop. So hence all of those came into a mobile, hence a smartphone. So smartphone varies in terms of pricing. If someone says smartphone is expensive, I don't agree, because there are smartphones at a very cheaper scale as well. What we do is we go to the most sophisticated ones, where we need a finger scan, or where we need, you know, let's say hand movement or whatever. Do you call that smart? I don't think that's smart. That's very smart.
It can get cumbersome as well sometimes.
Exactly,
actually.
and that's a very smartphone. Let's go for a smartphone which has basic stuff, and then that's at a reasonable cost. Updates, there are enough and more updates, there are enough and more softwares that are cheaper, there are enough and more apps that are free. So you rather go for that than expecting something that is paid. I don't think it makes sense to pay for something and get it when there are enough or more apps that are free. So you rather go for that.
Of course. So, but how can you make sure that your big buy is an investment as opposed to a noose around your neck?
Okay, so see, if you want your big buy to be an investment, it has to qualify into an investment basket. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is, car an investment? Depends on the brand. And it's definitely not an investment if you're buying on loan, so I have cut that off.
Yes.
I'm only talking about spare cash. It's an investment if it depends on if it's the brand. If I buy a particular car that's not resaleable, then that's not my investment. Again, a property or land is an investment only if it's in a location where it's saleable.
Okay.
So
even if you don't plan on selling it off in the near future, you should still look
that's
into
still fine, because I said at the start, it's not your income, it's your wealth. So if it is stocked, then it's my wealth. But remember, imagine that plot of land is amazing plot of land, but it's on loan. Then I put it under my liabilities column. I never put it under my assets column, because that's not mine. It all depends on whether that will generate the return. Hence, you need to be a little smart when you do that as well.
So prioritize and be smart has been the name of the game here on the show this morning. But thank you so much, Shafraz, for being with us.
My pleasure.
And it was a great morning with you. You bring a lot of energy onto the set. So it's always great to have you on the show as well. But don't go anywhere, because right after this break we have Dr. Kumar Iddamalhene, who will be joining me, and he is a dynamic personality, and he has a very special event that's going to be happening this weekend, and he's going to speak to us about that. So do stay here with us on Good Morning Sri Lanka. We'll be right back.